So with that, let me introduce my good friend, my PR guy, Eric Yaverbaum. Eric?
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm not, Bill said he didn't know what to call me. I'm not the PR guy. I'm the guy with long pants. My legs aren't as nice. I've learned an awful lot in my relationship with Bill. I've learned about being humble, and I've been learning about that for 25 years. I've spent a career working with the rich and the famous, a career being with celebrities, a career being with CEOs of the Fortune 1000. And I'm going to tell you one story, and Bill reminds me of that every day when my ego gets a little bit too big. I was giving a speech for Domino's Pizza. This was over 20 years ago, and I was sitting at the table with the chairman, Tom Monahan, who was a longtime client of mine, and I was sitting next to Joe Theismann, and it was the week that the Redskins had won the Super Bowl. Joe Theismann was the MVP of the Super Bowl, and Joe Theismann has quite an ego. The waiter was walking around the table, and he took the tongs, and he put a piece of bread on the bread plate, and he took the tongs, and he put a pat of butter next to the bread, and Theismann turned around to him and said, "Can I get another pat of butter?" And the waiter said, "No." And Theismann did a double take, and he turned around and said, "Do you know who I am?" And the waiter said, "No." He said, "Well, I'm Joe Theismann. I was the quarterback of the Washington Redskins. We just won the Super Bowl. I'm the reason everybody's here today." And the waiter looked at him and said, "Do you know who I am?" And Theismann said, "No." He said, "I'm the guy in charge of the butter, and that's all you're getting." Today, in the newspaper, I see in the Wall Street Journal that Pepsi's raising the stakes on Super Bowl ads. Super Bowl ads. Football season just started. Now, we all know how much we read about Super Bowl ads as we get closer to playoff time, and all the big bad brands come, and everybody wants to get an enormous amount of buzz from their Super Bowl ads. And Pepsi ups the ante, and here we are in September, and they've launched a campaign, something called do-it-yourself advertising, where they're looking for the very best ad bite that anybody can do to be a Super Bowl ad. They've done this intentionally. It's part of their PR plan, and we're going to read about this from now into the Super Bowl. So instead of just getting a lot of press because they may or may not have a great ad that day, we're going to read about it until then. That's their PR plan. I also see in the newspaper today that Chrysler's introducing 3 electric cars. The headline says Chrysler's Jolt, 3 electric cars. That's kind of cool. 3 electric cars. Wow. I want to check them out. I mean, the paper writes all how great they are. They must be great. The paper wrote about it. Subheadline, automaker discloses it's lost $400 million this year as it unveils battery-powered vehicles. Gosh, I wonder if that was planned. I wonder if the bad news was the real news, but the headline is about 3 electric cars. They did that on purpose. It's part of their PR plan. And I show you just a couple articles from today's paper to show you that a lot of what you read on any given day is planned. It's planned in advance. The news on many a day is manipulated from what we read about Wall Street to the presidential elections to the best widget there is on the market. And I ask you to become students of the press. Watch the news tonight with a different eye. Watch the news to say, what's the person who's being interviewed trying to get me interested in? Do I believe that person? Was that person impactful, influential? Did that person penetrate my defenses and make me do something? Now we can bring up the first slide. What is PR? What does it mean? How do you use it? How can you use it to make your business better? to drive revenue, to elevate your recognition, to put your name on the map. Public relations is the art of demonstration. It's the art of animation. It's the art of becoming part of the news. I'll show you two side by side. Today's papers also. Here's an ad. We all get advertising. There's an ad for the new BlackBerry. It looks pretty great. It's full page. But you all know it's an ad. Now, what do you do when you read an ad? Because you see them all day long. Whether you do it consciously or you do it subconsciously, your defenses are up. It's an ad. They're trying to sell you something. So you put your defenses up. I always say, your hands go in front of your face. If it's a good ad, the ad penetrates those defenses and pulls you out and encourages you to take action. But subconsciously, you know it's an ad. But you know, on the same day that I see the ad for BlackBerry, and I'm partial to BlackBerry because I love BlackBerry, I've had one for years. Did you see this? Google's new challenge to the iPhone? And read this article? Whoa, this is so much better than what I have, because the newspaper says it is. I read it right here. New York newspaper. It's better. Must be. No defenses. It's in the news. It's very, very credible. That's the difference between public relations and advertising. And that's the difference between the way people perceive what they read in the newspaper and what they see as an ad. And that's why PR and having a PR program can be very, very impactful and influential towards accomplishing your goals, which I'm going to talk a little bit about during this hour.